All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by Rob Mariano, Fran's cousin.
Yep.
We're just figuring that out.
We're going to trace our family tree back. There's got to be something.
Yes, exactly. AKA Boston Rob, a reality TV show legend. You guys know him from Survivor, Deal or No Deal Island, now Traitors, which we are very, very excited to talk about. Big episode this week. Yeah. Everybody's talking about it, and we're so excited that you're here today to talk.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It was a fun episode, that's for sure.
It really was. So, I mean, first off, I got to ask, because you're a Boston guy. So how are you very familiar with the Barstool world, or not at all?
I'm very familiar. It is crazy because I'm a lot older than you girls, but I actually came up around the same time as Dave in Boston. Like everything, like, you know, the gambling, the whole thing, and I'm surprised our paths have never crossed. But yeah, super big fan of all Boston.
That is true. I was going to say, I'm surprised that
is true.
Have you always been Boston, Rob? Like from the beginning, that's like...
So the story of how that even started, the first season I was on Survivor, there were two guys named Rob. And we got to the merge, and Jeff's like, how are we going to handle this? And the other guy is like, well, I'm from New York. You call me New York Rob. And I don't think Propes like being told what to do. And he's like, well, where are you from? And I was like, Boston. And he was like, okay, Boston Rob. And that was it. Like, seriously, it stuck.
It was that Rob's dream to be called New York Rob. And now you're Boston Rob forever. But this season of Traitors is so good. Everyone's talking about it. We were, we just had Parvati on. We were laughing with her too, because there's so many different like edits now, like on TikTok and everything. And we've been talking a lot on our show about all the edits that people have been making of you, because they're watching you now on Traitors, and you had the backwards hat and the blazer. You talked about that.
True to form.
Still rocking the same thing. And everyone's like, if you don't know Boston Rob, here he is. And it's just like all these edits now of you on TikTok. Have you seen those? Have your daughters shown you them?
My daughters are more likely to have shown them to me. But yeah, I think like one of the reasons why I've continued to do this for over 25 years is like people expect the consistency, and I am who I am. I make no bones about it. Like, that's how I like to dress. I know it's a fashion show, but to me, I was more focused on the competition part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know even post, like, they've all been honoring the backwards hat. I saw Bob on TikTok wearing his hat backwards. He said, this is for Boston Rob. It was a very interesting entrance for you on this season. What was that like? Kind of like, was there a moment where you thought, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to play?
Like, facts, like, they did me no favors. They did not tell me that I was doing that until after I got to Scotland.
Okay.
Like, I was in Scotland the night before the show's about to start.
Not be on the show.
We got this idea, we're going to do a little twist. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. And they're like, well, if it doesn't work, we have another idea. Right. And they're like, what? I was like, what's the other idea? They're like, we're not telling you. And I was like, I don't know.
This is not a good idea
either. But... like, I'm going to have a target regardless. Like, my reputation precedes me. Many years of playing these games. So I'm like, okay, let's make it bigger. Let's see if I can get out of it. Let's see what I can do. And, so I didn't anticipate anybody letting me in. And then afterwards, it's like, it's definitely on me.
Yeah, right. They had to find some way to put you in.
The sus. I'm using it wrong, right? The sus. My girls at home are cringing. Like, my four daughters are like, Dad, no! I was like, oh.
That's funny. I think, though, watching this unfold on this season, it's like, okay, you don't get let in, right? And then you're brought in. But I don't know how it didn't click immediately for people like, he's a traitor now. Like, it's, I
think a lot of them probably think it in the back of their heads. But then, like, once I find out who the other traitors are in the turret with me, I'm like, here we go, right? Like, this is like one surprise after the next. It's getting harder and harder and harder. And, like, Bob and Danielle have this little thing going, and Carolyn's, like, all over the place. And I'm, like, trying to just, be as chill as possible until, red flag number one, Bob tries to put Carolyn in the coffin, and I was like, ooh, that's not a good move. And he's a pretty smart guy. Like, he understands the strategy. And I was like, I don't think we should put Carolyn in. Let's pick someone else, And then Danielle's targeting Jeremy, and I want to say something,
Right.
but like I don't want to make waves. So I'm like, all right, I'll let that happen. But when he like targets me and Wes and Derek as the 3 cage bros, and like he's like, we got to check them. At that point, I felt like, okay, this guy's directly coming at me now, so I'm going to have to stand up and do something. I'm just not that guy to sit around.
Right,
so.
yeah. And that you did, and poor Dylan Efron, who, you know, is trusting you with open arms.
Dylan's great. I love Dylan. Can I just say I love Dylan?
Yeah.
Like we went and, we played golf a few weeks ago in Vegas, and he is everything you see. He's just a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We felt that, and watching, it's like, I'm sure you see it too now because you're watching and you can see like the confessionals and the other moments that they're having. Yeah. And he was just so excited to work with you.
I could feel that though, like in the moment, you know what I mean? Like, and it's genuine.
Yeah.
So like at this point in the show, now he's like my man. He's
Yeah,
like,
right.
He's like, I was like, I got him.
Yeah, he's like, we got him together.
When you knew, like, okay, I'm gonna have to make a move on Bob, was Dylan the first person that you thought like I should go talk to him about this?
So like, I'm not just going to like go and make a move at Bob unless I feel like I can get enough people on board with me. And I got to tell you, the time that you have to maneuver in the castle after you come back from the challenge before the round table is very short. You don't have a lot of time. So I was like, if I'm going to make something happen, I got to make it happen quick. And so Dylan, of course, was the first one, yes, to answer your question. But also I had to go to Danielle and Carolyn because I have to, like, I can't go and make this move unless, like, they know that this is going to happen. And I kind of positioned it like it was everybody, it was happening without me. It wasn't me doing it. Danielle immediately pushed back. When she did, I was like, okay, no problem. Close the door on her. But we're still doing it. And I'm telling Carolyn we're doing this, you know. So I felt like at that point I would be able to get the numbers, but then the round table starts going in a completely different direction, and they're focused on Sierra and Nikki. And I've already planted seeds in enough people that I know I have to make it go to Bob, and I have to make it go now, because if I don't, these other conversations that I just had are going to get back to Bob over the course of the next day, and I'm dead.
For sure.
So it's like, this is not the kind of guy that you can just like ease your way in and push it. It's like, I need to go and murder this guy. I need to kill him. And I see it's going a different direction. I just interrupted. I was like, whoa, you guys are all off track, you know? And at that point, it was actually, I think, even more intense than you guys saw in the edit, which is kind of crazy because we were back and forth. And to Bob's credit, like, I feel like he held his own really good. And he was such a good orator. Like he could talk to you and everybody, and he could, you know, persuade and dissuade however he wanted. And I was fine with it until he was trying to get me.
For sure.
You know?
When you got him out, were you nervous about the fact that he would go up there and be like, and by the way, Rob's a traitor, or is that not allowed to happen?
So you're not supposed to do it, but he dropped some clues, and he actually dropped more clues than were shown. But but you know, I get it. Like a lot of people they're hurt, you know, and it was truly a blindside. Like he didn't see it coming.
We talked about it on Monday's episode. We were talking about the episode too. I said just the like as you're speaking and you're looking at everybody, and then you were just like,
the way you edited it.
Like the edit is just so good because you just like, you don't even say his name, you just look at him, and then Bob is like,
it's so good. The dramatics of the show, and also, you know, selfishly, we're big fans of Sierra, so the fact that it was going towards her, and then you kind of, you know, got it towards Bob, I was like, thank God. I was
and
like,
Nikki too. I was like,
oh my God, they're targeting the wrong people, and you know,
Wes's logic made no sense for me on Nikki. It was like, she's a wrestler, she likes theatrics. I was like, Wes, that's a tough sell, pal.
Right. Meanwhile, like I didn't, even just watching the show, I'm like, I don't know how they're getting Traitors vibes from them, but of course the edit, you never know what's going on in there. But the episode was incredible. I loved the crowd reaction too. Just the little things that people picked up on, like when Bob said to Dylan, like, not a good one, when he said his brother was an actor.
Yeah.
What was it like in the room when that was said?
Yeah, it was a little bit funny. Bob's really great. Like he is very quick-witted. Like I could, I watched him like do this and you got to realize, like, it's only been 3 days in the castle. I'm already coming in late. I'm already behind. Like it's like I'm playing catch up and I'm watching this guy just, literally he's playing both sides so well from my point of view. He's playing the faithful side well, he's playing the traitor side well. And I'm just like, wow, this guy's really good. I was like, but I could feel also that, I don't know how to explain, like, feel, but, like, I could tell that, like, he didn't want me there for a long time.
Well, do you think that in a group, like, because the group of Traitors is so small, do you think that having to really, like, he was, like you said, playing both sides, really good at it, and he voices opinion a lot. Do you find it would have been like kind of hard to continue to be a traitor with him?
Well, yeah, and I do, and I think like you said in the beginning, like, people are going to be suspicious that I'm a traitor, right? There's a lot of different dynamics from a game point of view going on. Like if you look at like the meta, like you look at the 3 people in the coffin, you're like, well, why would those other 2 people? Well, the season before, like they had the option to put other traitors in the coffin, and like who would be so bold to do that? So I think that's what Wes was saying between Wes and Sierra. Obviously, they're going to look at myself and Derek and Wes in the cage. Wes is a smart player. Yeah. Bob the Drag Queen's really smart. Derek's smart. Tony and Jeremy, like these guys, they understand. So it's like you're not there with a bunch of fish.
Yeah.
Like you really have to work. Yeah. And I think like Bob was someone that, eventually what was going to happen was going to happen. It didn't need to happen as early as it did until he forced it. Right. In my mind, he forced it. And when he did, I mean, that's it. You can't put that back. Like, it's out, and now I have to kill you. Yeah. Like, the end.
Yeah. Yep. Does Tony still hold hard feelings towards you?
I guess.
I think so, him, right? I heard a little bit of him talking about it.
Which surprises me, because Tony's a gamer. Right. Like, Tony's a good player. He's going to get over it. But, I mean, like, he has been, like, a little bit,
little salty.
Little salty is a nice way to say it.
I was going to try it.
But I understand what he means, right? So, like, from a theoretical point of view, yes, if you have numbers and keep the numbers together, it makes sense. But at the same time, maybe I give Tony too much credit in that I thought he must realize that he's such a big presence and a big player that if he's not a traitor, surely it has to be me.
Right.
So, I mean, he what he's saying is his view from his eyes and his lens, and not seeing it through my lens. Right. So the argument was that, like, oh, I crushed him at the round table. I was like, well, yeah, I did, but I was forced to, because where else was I going to go? Right. Like, well, you didn't see Bob Harper, like, pushed me, and he was like, so, Rob, what do you think? Like, because I was totally keeping my mouth shut, and I wasn't going to say anything. When he did, I told him about, giving him the shield, which I did. And then, him, but I mean, like, so at that point, who do I vote for? I either kill Tony, where everybody else is going that way. Like, true to form, everybody was going that way. Or I throw a vote towards Bob. Like, at that point, no chance. Right. Yeah. Or I make an enemy with somebody else. Right. Yeah. Which doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And in theory, it's nice to think, oh, Survivor, we stick together. But, like, you don't have to just because you guys were both on Survivor. And, like, ultimately, when you get towards the end, you're going to have to go for each other anyway. So it doesn't really matter at that point, too. And also the housewives, like them sticking together, like they have a target on their back, as people are like, well, one of them must be a traitor. They're all sticking together. They're all protecting each other. So,
yeah.
What did you think about Danielle gunning so hard for Jeremy? Because I thought, like, just from that move, I was like, Jeremy's the only one that has brought up Danielle's name at that point. And I was like, this feels like an obvious shot.
Yeah. So Danielle, like in my opinion, like her traitor game is not so strong. Like it's just, like I get it, but like somebody said your name, you want to eliminate them, but it also like could come back to get you too. Right.
When there's only one person saying your name and then you're like that person leaves, I just feel like that's a tough one.
Like it's been shopped around to a couple different people already too.
Exactly.
I feel like because I was late to the game, I was the fourth traitor into the turret. I felt like her and Bob had already initially created a bond that it was going to be the two of them and they were going to figure out a way to work together. Carolyn's on the outside. I know of Carolyn at this point. I don't know Carolyn, and Carolyn's a handful. Like she's great. Like don't get me wrong, but like when you don't have time to sit down and have a one-on-one and get to know someone, you got to make quick judgments, and like she's not giving me what I need as a alliance partner or whatever. So I really do feel like I'm out there, especially now there's only 3 of us, and if we were to supposedly lose one more, which I'm not saying we are, but if we were, right, let's look at that situation, then of course they're going to think that they're going to recruit.
Yeah.
And if I am a faithful, who's public enemy number 1 to recruit? It's me.
Yeah. Yep.
So now it's my job to make this 3-ring circus a happy home.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's not easy.
Right. That is very true.
I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for the next episode. I think everybody is. But
I totally is. What's it like kind of going through these challenges with everybody in the house? Because everybody's from such different backgrounds.
Yeah.
People who have been through challenges before on different shows. I mean, the housewives aren't out here doing physical challenges on their shows. So what's it like kind of trying to get everybody to work together so that you can collect this money?
Yeah. So
the last challenge didn't go so well.
I'm going to give you the real answer to your question, which a lot of people probably don't want to hear, but the challenges don't really mean a lot in Traitors.
Yeah.
Like you're adding money but like at the end of the day, and I think they'll change this in the future, they'll make more consequences and like advantages, but it's not like on Deal or No Deal Island or like in Survivor where like those challenges really have repercussions. So
and at Deal or No Deal Island, the money, like it's just you're working with a bigger amount of money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Traitors is like anything of it I haven't ever done before. You know, it's like truly like, the girls are in hair and makeup and they're doing fashion.
Like people say, it has much more of a like a campy feel. Like it is, and very
it's also
theatric.
like the round table is like where it really comes together for me. For
I
Traitors,
love that. That's the best
it's like
part.
Everyone having to talk it out loud in front of each other. I think is just an incredible aspect of the show. Where you're right, like the challenges may not mean as much. I mean, we watched you on Deal or No Deal Island. Obviously, watched you on Survivor. What made you want to do the other shows? Like, were you kind of like, I'm kind of done with Survivor. I want to maybe go into other things.
Survivor's great. I love Survivor. Like, it's like giving me the platform to be able to do other things.
For sure.
Like, it'll always be like, what I'm known for in the beginning. Deal or No Deal Island, truthfully, like they asked me, and like I wasn't gung-ho at first, but then once I found out the concept, I found out that I would be able to like kind of figure out the strategy and shape the way the game's played from the beginning, and it was going to be the first season of the show. I was more interested, and then I'm obviously happy I did it. It was great. It didn't end up the way I wanted, but it was such a fun experience.
Yeah.
And Traitors have been asking me for a while to do it, and again, it's something that like outside of my comfort zone, something different. It's hard for me just because of who I am, right? Like I go into that castle and I know Tony and Jeremy, and that was it. I knew of Carolyn, but like every other person there, not everyone, but a lot of them know who I am.
For sure.
So like that target's so big. So to be able to go into these competition reality shows and figure out like a new way to do something or a new trick in my bag, like it's challenging, but it's also, not easy.
Right, because even if somebody hasn't watched Survivor before, they've heard of you. Like they know Boss and Rob. So maybe somebody hasn't watched your season, but they're like, we know we should look out for him.
Don't worry, he's got Dylan running around.
Yeah,
the
Dylan
castle.
Efron is telling everybody all of his
Leave Dylan
moves.
alone. That's my guy. Don't mess with Dylan.
Oh, yeah, we
love
would never.
Dylan.
We got Zac Efron is on our star.
Yeah,
on
we
our
have
table.
a picture of Zac Efron to support him as a great actor.
Big fans.
He is
of
a great actor, as
big
Dolores
fans
would
of the
say.
Efrons in
we
the
are,
studio.
and we want Dylan to come on the show so we can talk to him too.
Yeah.
But with Survivor, like you said, it's hard for you to go onto a show now and people not know. Would you do another season? But it would have to be a bunch of people have played before, right?
So like they were getting ready to do the 50th season, and Jeff called me like last summer, and we had a conversation about it. And I just feel like I've done everything I wanted to do in the Survivor space, like as far as playing. Like to go back and just go through the motions again doesn't feel like it makes sense. You know, I won the show. I met my wife on the show.
Yeah.
I got to play with all the winners. Like I've lost the show. I've done all different
You've had
things.
a big statue of your face on the show.
Had a big statue of my face, which is ridiculous, but still pretty awesome. So, I mean, I don't know if there's another way to be involved in the 50th season to help celebrate it. I'm open to that.
Right.
But as far as like just going back to play again, I don't need that.
You're like, my legacy is there.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah,
right?
but not kind of. It definitely is.
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. From back to all the way to the beginning for a second, we it's funny because our listeners don't know. Well, Parvati was just recording with us, and people will be able to listen to that this week as well. But we were talking to her just about those initial audition, like casting processes and everything. And she did mention that she said like, oh, Rob's got a funny story about like getting cast on
being
Survivor
in the hotel.
and being in the hotel. Do you know what she's talking about?
Maybe. Did she tell
didn't
the
tell it.
story?
No, she
No,
didn't
she
tell the
didn't
story.
tell it.
She was like, ask Rob about it.
Yeah,
So
I have a
just
very
ask
funny
it.
story. We'll talk about it next time.
All right, well then what it's
Well,
like.
now we're left on a cliffhanger
seriously,
from Parvati and Rob.
From Parvati and Rob, we'll have to figure out what it was. But that's what was the year when you were cast for Survivor?
I believe it was 2001.
Okay.
I remember 9/11 had just happened.
Yeah.
And we were still in casting for the final 50. Ironically, like my flight going to LA for that final 50 casting was like the American Airlines Flight 11 1 week later to the day, like on the 18th. Yeah, and I was like really like paranoid. Like, I didn't realize like every Tuesday morning at this time is Flight 11.
Right.
So we ended up like switching and going through Rhode Island instead, and we flew out there. And originally that first season was supposed to be held, a lot of people don't know this either, was supposed to be held in Saudi Arabia. It was supposed to be Survivor the Middle East.
Yeah.
And because of everything that happened, they switched it last minute to the Marquesas Islands. And you know, I didn't do that great that first season. I think I understood the strategy better than the other people, but like I got swapped. There was a tribe swap, and I got, you know, I messed up and I got out. But I made enough of an impression that like when they did the All-Star season a few years later, I got the invite.
Yeah.
And I remember I was maybe 25, 26 years old at the time, and I was like, man, if I got another chance, I'm going back and I'm not taking any prisoners.
There you go.
And I did. A lot of salty people. Yeah. But it worked out for me.
Yeah.
Look, that's just the name. That's just the name of the game.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I was saying to you, Rhea.
And so
like,
we've
you
been trying to say it to Rhea for a week. I'm like, you won. Everyone's gonna be pissed. You won.
Yeah.
You took the money.
Let me tell you, they love you or they're jealous.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
end. That's it. And you tell them I told them that.
Yeah.
We gotta clip that. We gotta clip that. It's from Boston Rob himself. But I think, you know, now people are seeing, you know, I'm sure your daughters have shown you, we just talked about this, the edits, but this story with Amber and you proposing at the finale.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind when you did that? Like, were you so nervous that she was going to be like, what the hell? I mean, she was wearing an I Heart Rob shirt, so, you know.
Which I didn't know she had on until the very last second in the green room. She took it off. She, like, switched shirts.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was a good hedge, right?
Yeah.
Thank God. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You know, we're going to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary in April.
That's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah. So, thank you.
April what?
16.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think, you know, it worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
It's just an incredible story because, like you said, you won, you found the love of your life, you lost also. Right. Big statues.
4 daughters.
4 daughters.
My kids, I love right now. They're watching all of this.
Yeah.
And like they could not care one bit about me, you know, like not that they don't care, but like, you know,
they're watching Traitors and everything. Yeah.
Do you think they're rooting like a little bit against you sometimes?
No, they're not. Like, they're rooting for me, but they're always like, I'm always embarrassing them. Like every time I do something.
Do they have any favorites?
Me.
Besides you?
They like Dylan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
We grew up with Zach. They're growing up with Dylan.
Yeah. So I think that's about it.
Yeah, right. and Dylan likes you, so that makes sense. So it's I would imagine there's a lot of other shows that these people are from that they don't fully know who these people are.
And I didn't either, you know. So like to me, like I formed a great relationship with Chriselle. And with Nikki, they didn't show it last episode, but we worked really well together, like getting the heads up on top of the statues. And Sierra, too. Sierra, Chriselle, Nikki, Dylan, all 4 of them, I became pretty good friends with, and we weren't like, you know, I didn't know of them or their shows or anything after. Yeah.
That's awesome. I cannot wait. Like I already mentioned, the rest of this season, it's already off to such a good start, and I can't wait to see where it ends up. And I think, you know, we can't, and I don't even want to look at your face because I don't want to see what happens, but like,
you think you can read me? You won one show, and all of a sudden, you got the skills, right?
No, not like that. Not like that. I just... I didn't even mean it like that.
One show, one little surviving Barstool, and all of a sudden,
I didn't mean it like that. I just meant I don't want to know if you go home.
Oh, my God, that's so
I certainly don't think that about myself.
I do want to ask.
Okay, sorry. You just brought it up, but like, when you hear about surviving Barstool, you're like, this is a joke. Like... truthfully, are you
honestly,
like, this is
the
pathetic?
first time I watched it a little bit, and then I haven't seen the ending. Like, I obviously know that you won and everything, but I became more invested in it this time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, did you watch a different season before this one?
Yeah. Have there only been 2? Have there been
There's
more
been
than 2?
4.
Okay, no.
Yeah,
I probably have seen either the last 2 or the first one and this one.
Yeah. Probably
this one was amped up a lot. This was like on a larger
They've also
scale.
raised the prize pot has gone up substantially since they started.
Yeah.
I don't want to like officially form an alliance with you on air because I don't want anybody else to like hear about that.
Right.
But we'll talk later.
Well, you met Tommy Smokes, right?
I did.
He's like a Survivor fanatic and
Survivor podcast.
Yeah, he thinks
great.
Tommy, he thinks he's like the best of the best.
Yeah, that's what he said to me. Yeah.
I mean, he would actually like cut off a limb, I think, to go on to actually be on the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Has he ever applied?
No, he's tried.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like. Somebody's got to get him in
a lot
touch.
of avenues.
He's trying to just get on every other show so that he can get to Survivor. But he's
that's
like,
not the way to do it.
No, no one has casted him on another show. Yeah. So it's not like he's gotten to those and then done it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we got to have a one-on-one casting.
You do, because he would do literally anything to be on Survivor. Like truly anything. Would. So.
My last question was: have you had any interaction with Bob since the end of the show? Or
Bob the drag queen?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I sent him a message the other night after it was over and just said, you know, like it was out of big respect, you know, and he just responded like with the heart back.
Yeah.
Like I think Bob is definitely the type of person that understands the game, understands it was game, and, you know, didn't work out the way he wanted. But I feel like if I didn't get him, then it wouldn't be soon before he was coming after me.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's very fair.
Have you had to send those messages a lot in the past after shows you've done?
I don't send them.
Or you kind of just like, it's
like,
the game?
honestly, the only reason I sent it to Bob was like, because truly, like, I hadn't had any interaction with them to like, you know, like talk about it, but I wanted them to know it was because out of respect. Mm-hmm. And no, I don't. I mean, like I separate it, no problem. It's a game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go, you play, and like some people be like, it's more than just a game. Like I get it, but like it's not. Like you can't let them live rent free in your head. It has to be the other way around. Okay?
That's
Another
good advice.
good one.
Look at me.
Another
You
good
better
one.
wipe
This is
that
like-
scowl
this
off
is
your
like-
face and be
We got
proud
like the
and
Buddha in
screw
front of
all
us.
of them.
It's
No, I
like-
am proud. I am
Yeah.
proud.
Exactly.
I am proud.
Okay.
I am,
Exactly.
for sure.
Yeah.
You guys came in. You guys came in here at the right
Yeah,
time.
you did.
Like,
You
yes.
definitely. You and Parvati came in at the right
guys came in at
time.
the
What
right
did
time,
she
for
say?
sure.
She said the same thing.
Yeah.
She said that you won. So
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, but not only did you win, you won fair and square playing within the rules of the game. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Yep. Absolutely.
whatever.
Right. People did vote for me.
You know, go and get some boxes of Kleenex, and every single person that is like weird to you, just like put one on their desk.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
there you go.
it's not even the people here. It's honestly not the people here. Like it's just like
Okay.
the reaction in general. But
like social media.
yeah, like that sort of thing.
Oh,
But it is
forget it.
yeah, no. They're crying because I was crying, but I'm like, you're crying, that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
See, I think like because the internet was like brand new when I first started doing these
Yeah.
shows, I don't have that same
Right.
like reaction to
Yeah.
social.
Right. That is true. And I also feel like it's been now the respect is on your name as a player so much that it's like people are like, okay, there it is. Because it's like those first few seasons, who knows what social media really does change.
Of course,
it just
yeah.
can be so effective because it really does. And it's like you could play a great game, and even on these shows that are on now, if social media loves you, casting, they'll want you on other shows, they'll want you doing this. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like truly, like a long time ago, I wrote a book called the Boston Rob Rule Book. And rule number 1 in the book is you have to know who you are, know yourself. And like these shows, Survivor, Deal or No Deal Island, The Traitors, Surviving Barstool, is not the place where you go to figure out who you are as a person. And if you're using feedback and life lessons from that, you're going to miss the boat.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's going to leave you at the shore.
Yeah.
You have to know who you are.
Because that's
and what
not
you
real
stand
life.
for
Like those are
before.
Yeah.
games.
Exactly.
Right.
So like I mean, that's just it. You can't let the haters
You said it before.
Said it.
yeah, they
Yep.
hate you.
They hate
or
you, they're jealous.
They're jealous.
So, all right.
They love you or they're jealous.
Yeah,
They
right,
hate
love
you.
you. Yeah.
They hate
Yeah,
you and they're jealous.
Yeah, right. They love you or they're jealous. Yes,
Both
that's
things.
It. Oh,
good.
Rob, thank you so much
Yes,
for,
thank you so
for joining
much.
us. We're so excited to watch the rest of the season of The Traitors and see what happens Thursday nights on Peacock. 9 o'clock Eastern, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, new episodes.
I really like, I like refresh Peacock on Thursday nights until I know that the show, sometimes, it's like maybe a little earlier, a little later. I'm like, come on.
Couple minutes early, they put it on.
I know. So we're so locked in. Everybody is. It's been great. This past episode was fantastic. So
and Deal
can't
or
wait to
No Deal
watch.
Island after show.
Yes.
On Wednesdays.
Yes.
So that's how I originally found out about you two girls. I saw the interview you did with Joe Manganiello last season.
Yep.
So,
Who's also a big fan of Traitors.
yeah, he is.
Yep.
We talked the other night. He called me like Friday morning for like an hour. We talked on the phone. I was like, ah! Yeah.
Oh
but
my
he's
God.
awesome.
It's funny because he really is a fan too. So he
Yeah.
like probably just
He's
wanted
great.
to pick your brain
Right.
about the show and everything. But
That's
yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, that's
wow. It all comes. Thank you, Joe, for leading Boston Rob to
Thank
this
you,
show.
Joe.
Are you rooting for Parvati on Deal or No Deal Island?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love
And that's
it.
and we were talking about that's Tuesdays on Peacock.
There's a great
Eastern as
lineup
well.
going on right now.
Peacock has it all.
Yeah,
we've been
truly.
saying it for.
We're big fans of Peacock. It sounds like we're really sucking up to Peacock, but we really are.
Well, that's because we also are.
We are.
Yeah.
we definitely are.
we also are.
Exactly. So thank you, Peacock, and thank you, Rob.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Rob.
Thank you, girls.